Everything is for sale. So um, I, I guess that one ended up with PSG winning the penalty shootout and taking the championship. So let's see how it goes for the rest. We're talking about all of that and more inside the locker room today. But before we do any talking, Ayokumi, tell us how we can be a part of the locker room this morning.
All right, join us in the locker room this morning on WhatsApp and on YouTube as well. The WhatsApp number it's 0911 999 0911 999 0981. YouTube, you can find us at Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Leave your comments there as you always do. Those are the ways you can join us in the locker room this morning. All right, Tega, we shall begin talking about the AFCON, and as we said, the updates brought to you by Stampic IBTC. Well, let's talk about the Super Eagles first of all. Led by Victor Osimhen and Ademola Lookman, Nigeria's form at the Africa Cup of Nations has offered cause for optimism ahead of Saturday's heavyweight quarterfinal against Algeria, despite reports of unrest in the squad.
Which one is despite reports of unrest? Somebody said it's pay as you go FC, but really it's beginning to look like that. Just before a big match, we hear Super Eagles players have said they are not going to train and they're not going to travel to Marrakesh because their quarterfinal match is supposed to hold in Marrakesh. They're not going to train or travel to Marrakesh because their bonuses for the group stages haven't been paid. Again, misplaced priorities to me. I don't care what you say. Yes, a worker is worthy of his wages. I agree with you. This is not their wage. This is March bonus. None of them live on this money. This money is too small to derail your focus.
Mm.
Then halfway through, we now heard that the captain Wilfred Ndidi was like, if the federation doesn't pay the money before time, he's going to pay the money. So he's been begging his teammates. You see what I'm saying about being a captain? If you are a captain and you claim that you are focused and you want to play, if you get out of your room and step on the pitch for training, the rest will follow you. So you can't
Right.
say you are not on strike, but your team is on strike and you're going to pay them and you are the captain. No, you step out and start to warm up. So we'll know that, okay, the captain is not on strike. We can point fingers at who is on strike, but you are keeping team spirit with your team, but and you're not focused on it. There's nothing these people can tell me. Tomorrow they come and tell me, we really wanted it so hard. We really wanted to beat Algeria. You can't convince me. You went on a strike. You didn't train. You
Mm.
traveled late to Marrakesh because of bonus that people will spend at one sitting just entertaining friends. It is the distraction. Don't get me wrong. Uh, at the end of the day, when we look at this thing, the plan should have been that the money would be ready for these people, for these players, and it should be a plan that, okay, we'll pay your match bonuses at the end of each stage. So group stage is over, we pay you match bonuses for group stage, or we pay
Right.
your match bonuses at the end of the tournament. It should be an agreement.
It seems like that's what the players are afraid of. That if they get to the end of the tournament, then it becomes a cat and mouse game to get said bonuses.
So they decided to self-sabotage
Well,
before a
yeah.
big game. At the end of the day, it's their career. You see, people will blame the NFF for certain things. People will blame the sports commission for certain things. People even blame Nigeria because ultimately it was the minister of finance, right? That's who she is. That came to
Mm.
announce that herself, her team and CBN, they are working on getting, which is what I told people last year, that towards the end of last year, the sports federation hadn't even received up to 30% of the budget they were promised. So when people harass the sports federation and the NFF, they haven't even received their budget from government. So ultimately, when we blame all these people, we also have to look at the players. Tournament is not over. Focus on the focus. You're playing Algeria next, one of the most tricky opponents you can face. They bring all sorts of things to the pitch. Yes, they have talent. Yes, they have tactics, but they also have all these antics that they play during matches.
Very tricky sort of team.
Yeah, very tricky. So you're playing against a team that will be prepared for you tactically, that will be prepared for you physically, and most importantly, will be prepared for you psychologically. And you are distracted by $3,000. I mean, is it $2,500? What's all the drama about? This is self-sabotage. Agreement.
Well,
In fact, the agreement should be when the tournament is over, we'll pay you all the bonuses because we don't even know where you reach. You're not fighting for group stage bonus before a major match like Algeria. It's self-sabotage. It's self-sabotage. The last time people fought, you couldn't make the World Cup. You're striking again. You don't want to make the semi-finals.
history just might be repeating itself here.
And this is just a disappointment. Anyway, they have eventually gone back to training, so let's see what they come up with. Their match is tomorrow. So
Yeah,
let's see
tomorrow at
what they
5
come up
p.m.
with. Yeah.
All right, still talking about the AFCON. Let's talk about Mali, who overcame heavy odds and had to dig deep to reach the AFCON quarterfinals and will need the same mental strength against heavily fancied Senegal later today.
Yeah, so these are the fixtures. So I think it's the is the best quarterfinals lineup I've seen. And yes, Mali was one of my dark horses, but I think this is the easiest fixture because it's Mali against Senegal. When you look at both teams on paper, you look at both teams with their players and the quality of strength, it would be an upset for Mali to take out Senegal. And that's what they're hoping for. The rest of the fixtures are really almost evenly contested. So Morocco will be taking on Cameroon, Egypt will be taking on Cote d'Ivoire. That's still a tough one.
Yeah,
Nigeria will be taking on Algeria. I think for me, of all the fixtures, this seems to be the easiest one. Mali against Senegal, because of the team that Mali has. Sorry, because of the team that Senegal has,
Senegal
and the way
has.
that yeah, and the way that Mali has struggled to win. They are always draw merchants. So I think their plan will be to hope that they will draw again all the way to a knockout, to a penalty shootout, and then maybe win the penalty shootout. But it may be too tough. Senegalese are too rampant. They know how to stretch the pitch. They also know how to narrow the pitch when they need to manage their game. So it's very interesting to see how this sets up. Ultimately, Senegal are the favorites here, but Mali gets a shoe in because of what they did against Tunisia in the last round with 10
Hmm.
men to boot.
With 10 men to boot. All right, okay, let's talk about the indomitable Lions. Let's get them in very quickly here. Cameroon, they face off against the host Morocco in the quarterfinals, which the quarterfinal match will take place today in Rabat. That's going to be a tough one.
Yes, that's going to be a tough one. Now, Morocco hasn't had it easy. I know a lot of us had them down for favorites and all of that before the tournament because of their unbeaten run prior to the tournament and the way they made their run to the 2022 World Cup quarterfinal. However, it hasn't been smooth sailing for them at this tournament. In fact, it took them a single brilliant goal by Brahim Diaz to get through Tanzania that qualified on 2 points. And so when you look at they haven't been as convincing and as dominant in a tournament where a lot of people had them as favourites. So yes, it's going to be tough. You compare that to the Moroccan side, who seem to with every game be finding their feet. You look at Cameroon, a lot of people have been talking about Mbumo, but the man that has stepped up, or should I say the boy? Let's call him man, because when you score at the AFCON, you are now a man. The future that has stepped up in the present in Christian Kufan, that people were talking about that, oh, maybe he's a future player. He stepped up at this tournament and he's brilliant, makes brilliant runs, create
Hmm.
chances, knows how to get behind defenders. At the end of the day, Cameroon is not looking one of the solid teams at this tournament. So it's going to be a tough task for Morocco to overcome them. Um, I see this one going into 120 minutes.
Hmm. It's
I
going to
see
be
this one going into it's going to be a tough one, but let's wait and see how the teams show up on pitch. It's going to be a tough battle. And what can I say? It's Lions that are fighting, so
Abi.
May the best lion win.
Alrighty, on that note, we've come to the end of the AFCON roundup. It's been brought to you by Stanbic IBTC Bank. We'll take a breather. When we come back in, we'll talk about what's going on in European football. Take a look at Arsenal, Real Madrid, and what's going on in the weekend. Stay with us. Smooth 98.1. The Locker Room will be back in a moment. Your #1 adult contemporary radio station. If Super Eagles go and mess up, we have something to hold them.
Do you understand? I see. It's just self. Look, do they pay bonuses in between the tournament or after the tournament?
Yeah, I'm just confused. I'm just confused.
They now started making everybody to run helter skelter in Abuja yesterday. So they must have agreed. Yes, now they must have agreed to pay after each match, which is a stupid agreement.
Well, you know that sometimes if you're in a position where it might seem like you don't have leverage, you make silly decisions.
Could have said, you know what, you're paying. We're giving you the semi-final. We're giving you the ultimatum to get to the semi-finals. And we'll pay you your bonuses at the end of the tournament. Shikena. This same cry out, they cry out. If they cry out on social media, or if they cry out, to their people that you people haven't paid me, the reaction will still be the same. What's all this nonsense about in the middle of a tournament?
Mm. And at least you will get, and at least then you will get the support to get things
Do you
moving while
understand?
you're still doing what you need to do at the same time. But hey,
Be skipping training before Algeria. Don't worry, when they start rolling around tomorrow, remember what you did.
Welcome back into the locker room. It's the second half of the show on this Feel Good Friday morning here on Smooth 98.1. We are your love music, love life, love sports station as well. Ayokunmi Kekiriakun here. The one and only Tega Supreme is with me this morning, and we are taking a look at what's been going on in the world of sports. We talked about the AFCON before the break. Now we're stepping into Europe. But before we step into Europe, you can step into the show and join us. Get your front row seats on YouTube, Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Smooth 981 FM Lagos. Leave your comments there. Leave your comments as well on WhatsApp on 0911 9990981. Those are the ways to be a part of the locker room. We love to read your messages and hear from you. All right, let's talk about what went down in the Premier League last night as Arsenal wasted the chance to move 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League as Liverpool came to life in a 0-0 draw at the Emirates Stadium. Tega.
Yes, and this is what I was talking about. They wasted the chance. First 45 minutes was a mess. But in the first 45 minutes, you could see them trying, dominating possession, creating a lot of chances, just failing to put the ball in the back of the net. Second half was an entirely different story. They were playing at the Emirates, but it was rope-a-dope football. They were on the ropes for most of the half. In fact, Arsenal's first chance created came in the 88th minute when Gabriel Jesus headed directly at Alisson. Their first chance, I didn't say one on target. I said the first shot
chance of the whole game.
In the entire second half. 88 minutes. They had 0 chances at that point. Liverpool had 5. And that's just to show you how much they were sitting deep and defending. At the Emirates, you are the team in charge. You are the team at the top of the table. You are the one with the motivation to open up a gap after Manchester City and Aston Villa had dropped the ball. And this is why I'm not convinced about Arsenal. If they win this Premier League, it will be because other people failed to step up. It's that simple. Not because they stepped up and snatched it. No, it's because other people failed to step up. Because this was supposed to be the game. We're talking about a Liverpool that hasn't really found their feet this season. And so after the first half of creating chances, come out in the second half with an abysmal performance. We couldn't find Saka. When they eventually had to substitute him, they brought in Noni Madueke. Now, a lot of people talk about Noni Madueke and say he's a good replacement. He's not. He just runs around, but he doesn't do the same things. He can't press the same way. He can't pass the ball the same way. He can't score the same. He doesn't even have the same fear factor. So if you ask me, they downgraded. And then, Martinelli also came on. Still, it was such an abysmal second half performance. At some point, they were praying for the referee to blow the whistle. It was a poor performance by Arsenal. So yes, they wasted the chance to go eight points clear at the top. And there was also drama in the match. I think the biggest drama, in fact, the talking point was not the football. It was the issue between Conor Bradley and Gabriel Martinelli, for which he has apologized to Conor Bradley for pushing him off the pitch because he didn't know that it was a serious injury. But even I didn't know it was a serious injury at the time, because if you watch that match,
Right.
when Conor goes down, he now lifts himself up and moves himself onto the pitch just a little bit. And
Mm.
so when Martinelli sees him moving himself onto the pitch, he first shouts at the referee that, hey, he's moving himself onto the pitch instead of moving himself off the pitch. And then he now pushes him off. So, yes, there was all of that. When you look at it in that context, a lot of people are saying, oh, he was seriously injured, he was stretchered up. Why would Martinelli do that? In the moment, it looked like he was wasting time, because he had an injury and he rolled into the pitch further so that the match will not go on. So it looked
Yeah.
like time wasting. It was after they attended to him and had to carry him off in the stretcher that, of course, Martinelli and a few of us saw that, okay, that injury could have been serious. Um, and he was stretchered off. So Martinelli has apologized, but all the people that are shouting at Martinelli just need to watch the sequence of events before that and understand. Even Arne Slot said it. He was like, he understands why Martinelli did it, because of a lot of players are time wasting. It's that simple. So if Arne
Mm.
Slot, the coach, understands, who are you in the stands shouting slurs at Martinelli? It's just wrong behavior.
Very inappropriate behavior, really. Anyways, things are heating up in the Premier League. 6 point gap between Arsenal and Man City now. 21 games gone in the season. It is getting hotter. Anyways, from England, let's move to, well, I said Spain, but no, we're moving to Saudi Arabia, actually, talking about the Spanish Super Cup, where Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid beat Atletico Madrid 2-1 in a tight Spanish Super Cup semi-final in Saudi Arabia on Thursday to set up an El Clasico final clash against their rivals, Barcelona.
Yes, that was the tough one. Barcelona had defeated Athletic Bilbao 5-0 on Wednesday. In fact, they scored 4 goals before halftime. Was not a good was not a good showing of Spanish football. So yesterday's Madrid derby actually revived the contest. Brilliant goal by Valverde to open the scoring. But Real Madrid went 2 goals up. Atletico Madrid did fight, but they're always just going to be the poorer relative. Yeah, that's what it is. They're the
Wow.
poorer relative, because regardless of sometimes how well they play, they end up with
Eh,
the short pulling the short straw. It's that
yeah.
simple. So yesterday they did make a contest of it. It was an interesting one, and of as usual, because it's a Madrid derby, there were fights everywhere. Fights on the sideline between Simone and Vinicius Junior, and then Alonso stepped in. You can't talk to my player like that. Who do you think you are? Everybody was holding everybody. It was a brilliant watch. If you ask me, it was heavily contested, but that kind of thing, that somebody is trying, but they're still swimming against the tide. That's what seems to be happening to Atletico Madrid. They try so hard, they still come up short.
They always seem to come
So
up short,
yeah,
unfortunately
we are
for
down
them.
to El Clasico Super Cup final.
Hmm. That is going to be a big one. It always is. All right, away from what went down in Saudi Arabia, let's talk about new Chelsea boss Liam Rossini. His first match as Chelsea manager comes laced with giant killing danger as he takes the Blues to second-tier Charlton in the FA Cup third round.
I like the way they're saying giant killing. And I think all of this is ultimately coming from the fact that Chelsea is struggling to win matches, but that's in the Premier League. Tomorrow they're playing against Charlton. On paper, that should be an easy match, but because of the Chelsea's form and the magic of the FA Cup, where upsets are like a regular thing every other day, it makes it even tough for Chelsea. And then people want to see Rosinho in action. You saw him pitch side when Chelsea took on Fulham and lost to Fulham. I remember when Chelsea scored the equalizer and he jumped up and said, this is going to be some dramatic man. Oh. Yes, in the stands, you are jumping up. That means on the side of the pitch, we are finished. So wait to see how his impact begins to show in the FA Cup. Good thing he's starting with a club like Charlton. Manchester United in FA Cup, they're playing Brighton tomorrow.
I mean, of all the 1 million teams in English
Do you
football,
understand?
Brighton.
They are the only. I think they're one of the only teams, maybe apart from
Ah, ah,
Tottenham, Aston Villa.
there's
Yeah, but
there's
Manchester
Yeovil,
United is.
Stevenage, and so on and so forth, but no Brighton. Hey, now wow.
Yes, Manchester United pulled the Brighton straw. Brighton that drew against Manchester City and only ended up with a draw because they refused to take their chances. So it's going to be a really tough one. Arsenal play against Portsmouth. So yeah, every other team plays an easy fixture, but Manchester United with Darren Fletcher will play against Brighton, and then Chelsea will be taking on Charlton. So we're looking at what the new managers can do. We've already seen what Darren Fletcher has done to the team and how, a shift in coaching mentality has put up a shift in fight. Because when a new coach comes in, everybody starts on a clean slate. You believe that, okay, now I can make the team. Now that coach hated me. With this one, I can make a good impression. So that also helps to boost performance in players when a new coach comes in. So let's see how it works out. For Rosinho, I think it's a good match to sink his teeth in with his
Yeah.
new club. But for Darren Fletcher, it's a tough one. However,
Mm,
he's going to remember that he's just an interim manager.
exactly. Needs to keep that one in mind. Just get us into the fourth round. That's all. I beg. Anyways, away from Chelsea, let's talk about the special one. Yes, he's in the news once again. He's never too far from the headlines. Jose Mourinho took his players to stay at Benfica's training ground after they lost against Braga in the League Cup semi-finals. And the Portuguese manager said he hoped they don't sleep and instead think a lot. Tega, what is this drama?
I'm telling you, Jose Mourinho just never changes. So his team lost against Braga in the semi-final, and he's saying that he's so upset because they should have been playing a final on, is this Saturday or Sunday? Yeah, they should have been playing a final on Sunday. However, because they missed the opportunity, nobody's going home. Everybody's going to sleep in the training center, and they're going to sleep there till they play their midweek match against Porto next Wednesday. So it's a complete punishment. Oh. It's like secondary school now. If you played nonsense, you will sleep in the training center. I think it's such a ridiculous one. Players like Otamendi that got sent off, I can't imagine what it would be like waking up in the morning and seeing Jose Mourinho with his toothbrush and his towel, just looking at you. But yeah, Jose Mourinho is just never far away. Like, how could you do this to professional footballers? If it's one thing that the group says, okay, we haven't focused enough and all of that, so we are going to train till we get it right. But that's not it. This is punishment for losing to Braga. But prior to that, they had gone 11 match unbeaten. So he was so confident he'd gotten the team back on track, and unfortunately, they were not on track. So yes, this is their punishment. I just want to see the fallout of this, because when they fire him, and you notice I didn't say if, I said when. When
Mm.
they fire him, this will be one of the stories that will come up. This is one of them. All right. On that note,
Jose,
let's just take messages.
let's take messages. A number are lined up here. Let me run through as many as I can in the time that we have remaining. All right, Mohammed says, Tega, nobody we get sense can get you wrong. This is complete self-sabotage and undiluted, unpatriotic behavior in a foreign land. Why? Sorry, why don't they strike or protest at home in Nigeria? That is why I always feel that it is a national embarrassment when Nigerian athletes protest for wages in international tournaments. All right, who's talking to us here as well? This is from Ibuku Nketu, who says, Tega, how can the Eagles be so childish and immature? While we understand the mistrust and the ministry's shortcomings, the players forget that they will be the ones to collect medals and be written into history if they win the AFCON. Yet they're on strike for $3,000. Shame on
Do you
them.
know,
And
is the thing
and
that
he tried.
is the thing
Maybe he
that
was
hurts
outvoted
me?
by the players.
Is the thing that irks me? This is your career. Let's leave all this plenty talk. Some of you earn 40,000 pounds a week. You want to die on top of $3,000? I should become NFF president. No more bonus.
Ah,
No,
that would
no.
be
We would,
that would be very
no.
interesting.
We will do insurance for every player so that when you play for us, we will do insurance for every player. We will do welfare that will provide in Naira because Nigeria currency is Naira.
Mm,
That's
mm.
it.
Very, very, very important.
National team is not where you make wealth. That's what club football is for. National team is where you grow, represent your team, uh, get your billing, your 70% playing time so that you can get a better club football is for making money. National team, that's not what national team is for.
Right. This is Zikolo who says, I'm trying to understand Tega's point saying if Arsenal win the league, it would be because others didn't turn up. Then I ask, which team ever won the EPL without dropping points? Arsenal playing a draw against the champions isn't a big deal. After all, the same Liverpool didn't have a shot on target in the match. It was a difficult game of two halves for the two teams. There are still a lot of matches to be played, and all teams will still drop points. Okay, all right, Zikolo. Emeka Onelum says, I think I'll disagree with Tega a bit. Bonuses will be unpaid until they accumulate. It's because of incompetence of those in authority that workers like doctors are owed salaries for months. As for Arsenal, it's time. I think it's time we talked about Victor Gyökeres. Bro has been poor all season. In fact, in short, now -1. And as for Martinelli, the Martinelli incident, those criticizing and abusing Arsenal over it are not being objective. It's just deep-rooted hatred. That's all. Okay. Let me see here. Let me see. This is for Tayo says, collect bonus at the end of the tournament scare. Otilo, it has gone. I remember when Dalong said government didn't expect the Falcons to win the WAFCON. For me, it has been fun this far. I cannot can for this game against Algeria when I'm not a Man United fan and I want to still cut what's left of my hair. Tayo, you're playing with fire. I'd like to congratulate Loserpool for coming to life. Martinelli channeled his inner I don't care and I don't care and it didn't work for him. All right, Ty, I need to cut your message short so I can take some other ones as well. Benito says, hi, Tega and Ayo. Good morning, Benito. Hamatan is scared of bandits and Boko Haram. It was harassed, so it's scared of coming out. Enjoy the locker room. Felix from Minden, Maryland says, good morning, Ayo and Madam Tega. Happy weekend. The fixtures this weekend are really interesting. Thanks. Thank you very much, Felix, for always keeping it tuned. All right, let me go to YouTube and take your thoughts. Kunle Wendapo says, spot on Tega, absolute distraction and self-inflicted by the Eagles. How many nations pay their players bonuses, Seth? Good question. Deji says, never have I heard that senators' bonuses or allowances were delayed and they went on strike. Why should this same issue keep coming up? Let them take a loan and pay the Eagles. I've heard that says Super Eagles and yet another match bonus drama, 5 and 6. Padre Pio says Super Eagles and shenanigans are 5 and 6. They should quickly come back, please. Change coaches and not win. United and Chelsea. Liverpool gave City hopes. My FPL team didn't do too poorly. Hello, football. Padre Pio, I'm tired of FPL. I want to delete my team. I'm not doing it again. Uh, Rafa Bimbola, I won't say more than that. Rafa Bimbola says, for 3 seasons when Arsenal didn't put up enough fights against eventual winners, we got the rod. 6 points clear, but drew with defending champions. We still get the rod. Why always us? Ralph, try to be in
You
my
will
shoes.
continue to get you continue to get the rod until you start doing better. You step into a game where you're favorite and you're playing like chihuahuas. Gunners indeed. It's not gunners you are. You are catapult. Catapult. That's what you are.
All righty, we need to wrap it up.
I've
You're
muted
muted,
myself
Tega.
because
Yes, sir.
because I was on that note, I want to thank you for sending in your messages. Thank you for tuning into Smooth 98.1 FM to listen to the locker room. This weekend, what's happening? Okay, it's the FA Cup this weekend, the magic of
Yeah.
the FA Cup. So some people are a little safe from league football banter, but we will still drag your team if you go out there and lose to Charlton or Portsmouth or any
All
of the
righty.
other teams. Brighton. All right. On that note, go out there, have a fantastic weekend, and remember to support the Super Eagles of Nigeria. They play against Algeria tomorrow. Have a great weekend.
Enjoy your weekend, Tega. Thank you for an amazing weekend. Thank you all for keeping it tuned to the locker room here on Smooth 98.1. My name is Ayokunmi Kikirek on the Smooth Breakfast. Of course, it kicks on. It's a feel-good Friday morning. Let's go out there and make the best of it.